Let's talk a little baseball here, and obviously much different than glizzies or hot dogs. You just broke some news, I believe, on your Twitter account. There is a gambling investigation now happening in the baseball world. Obviously, we just saw this with Malik Beasley. We've seen it before. Jonte Porter. Terry Rozier has been cleared, I believe, of his gambling investigation. But now that the leagues have kind of linked up with the government and also the sports books themselves, they've been able to track all activity, is seemingly what we have learned about the process. It's happened in the NFL as well. What do we know at this moment about Luis Ortiz? Has this happened a lot in baseball, and is this the beginning of this type of trend to happen in the MLB?
Pat, a little more than a year ago, Tucupita Marcano, who was an infielder for the San Diego Padres, was banned for life for placing bets on nearly 400 Major League Baseball games. And look, in Major League Baseball, there is one rule, and that rule is very simple. Do not bet on baseball. And if you do bet on baseball, you face a lifetime ban. There were 4 other players during that time who were banned for a year because they were in the minor leagues when they bet on Major League games. But baseball is just the kind of sport that when you have the ability to gamble the way that you do these days is rife for potential corruption. I mean, you can bet on individual pitches, Pat, to be balls or strikes. And when that's the case, and there are hundreds of pitches being thrown every game, the ability for a pitcher or for a player to have one of those little minuscule events turn into a windfall of money potentially. That's why Major League Baseball and the other professional sports leagues have partnered as strongly as they have with gambling integrity organizations, because the sports just leave opportunity for corruption to happen. And look, if Luis Ortiz does wind up getting banned from Major League Baseball for gambling, if there are alerts that were sent out, or if there are specific pitches that are being looked at here, it's a problem for the sport. And listen, it's great when this sort of thing gets flagged, but it also makes you think, how many times does this happen where it doesn't get flagged as well? And what does that mean for the integrity of the game?
I don't want to just point out that the NBA has had this, because I think the NBA is a good league and they don't want any of this shit either. They've had a ref, they've had some players. It's not good. I mean, it's not good for any of the sports. We agree 100% with what you're saying, with what the leagues are saying. We cannot have anybody questioning the integrity of our league, or we turn into the Savannah Bananas. Okay, this can't, and not that that's a bad thing, but everybody needs to think what they're watching is legit. In the NBA, we watch the sport and we think to ourselves, oh, that is a gettable league. And then in baseball, as soon as I read about this pitcher, I'm thinking, my first reaction when I read your tweet was like, oh yeah. Because let alone balls and strikes. I mean, they can throw a ball on the 15th pitch of the night, I'm going to throw a ball or whatever. And then on the 20th night, pitch of the night, I'm going to throw a ball, because you kind of can. You can set that, you throw that way outside, and it's an easy write-off, like, oh, it stuck to his finger, or it's a bad throw. It's right. Like, I wonder how they investigate this. If they don't have it tracked, it's going to be tough to legitimize it from a pitcher from just watching film, do you think? Because can't anything happen? I mean, we see overthrows, we see in the dirt, we see that type of shit on a regular basis anyway. So would it be easy to figure out if somebody's throwing a game or a bet for somebody, or is it all going to be transactional records, you think?
Yeah, it feels like it would have to be tied, Pat, to just more than that. More than, let's say, if there's a large amount of money placed on a specific pitch, how do you tie that back to the pitcher himself? I don't know what the answer to that is at this point. But that even being a possibility,
that's so gettable.
Has to be alarming for Major League Baseball, knowing that there are hundreds of pitchers every year who are thrown in Major League Baseball games, and all of them, you have to track every single pitch, every single bet, line them up. I mean, it's a large undertaking, and the sort of thing that Major League Baseball has to take seriously, because the more players who are tied to gambling, the more the question goes back to the league. Is this a clean league? Is this something that, as we're watching, we can take seriously and believe what's going on out there is actually happening without, an invisible hand?
Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, Jett, just pivoting quick. Clayton Kershaw, 3,000 strikeouts. We saw that. We saw the celebration of his family Is there any way you could compare that to, say, like something in football that a quarterback would, hey, this is like some kind of record? Like, how big of a deal is this for someone that doesn't know a ton about baseball?
I'm not going to say it's like 50,000 yards for a quarterback, AJ, but it's sort of along those lines. In Major League Baseball, the 3,000 hit club tends to be the one that we focus on. But there have been only 20 pitchers in Major League Baseball history who have reached 3,000 strikeouts. And when you look at that list, it is full of Hall of Famers. You need a combination of excellence and longevity to do it. And Clayton Kershaw continuing to pitch into his late 30s, continuing to produce. And look, he's not the guy who won multiple Cy Youngs earlier in his career. He's not the best pitcher in baseball like he was for, a half-decade long period. But he's still a guy who's out there getting outs, getting strikeouts, and is going to be a no-doubt first ballot Hall of Famer, as easy of a Hall of Famer as just about anyone in Major League Baseball right now.
Congrats to him, and also huge win for the Dodgers last night. Walk-off with Freddie Freeman. We got a chance to follow the Dodgers this year. We've enjoyed the hell out of watching them. Also getting into baseball. I'm enjoying, Jett. I told you we're doing the baseball. Mm-hmm. We've been doing the baseball. Don't you think we've been doing it more and more each year? Don't you think?
I adore the fact that you bring me on to talk about baseball and to ask questions from the perspective of someone who's trying to learn about it and who wants to educate an audience that might not be as baseball centric, but gets to see the beauty of this sport. And it is a beautiful game. That's what I love about baseball more than anything. There's so many different elements to it and so many nuances and so many small things that someone who's a connoisseur of sports can really appreciate.
Nuance, yeah. And I like watching greats be great, and we're watching that this year. All the greats are seemingly performing at a very high level. A lot of big-time moments with the big-time players. And that's what makes big-time leagues, baby.
Yeah.
And we're kind of in the middle of it. We're very thankful. We will see you out at the Home Run Derby in Atlanta. We cannot wait for that, Jett. We're getting in there.
Yeah.
We're getting in there. We're doing it.
It's going to be the best. Well, look at the Pat McAfee Show coming in strong to baseball. Like, did you ever think that you were going to see that day? Like, you're going to be around Ohtani, you're going to be around Judge and Skeens and Acuna. You might meet the big dumper. Like, I feel like meeting the big dumper is an inevitability here.
Definitely.
And it's a good time. And I think baseball and the city of Atlanta in particular are going to really show out for you guys, because this is a big week for baseball. It's the week where, in the middle of a really long season, you get all of these great players together. And I believe Major League Baseball's All-Star Game, and really its All-Star Week, is the best in all of professional sports. I think it's better than what the NFL does, better than the NBA. Four nations this year, pretty good for the NHL. I'm not going to lie. That was a lot of fun. But just in terms of one-off All-Star games,
agreed.
Absolutely love what baseball does.
The Home Run Derby is, even growing up in a city that was very hard to be a baseball fan, shout out to Pittsburgh, which we're about to talk about here in a matter of moments. When I was growing up, bad baseball, Dad hated baseball. I mean, just like nothing. Home Run Derby was always something you look forward to, because that is like, if you're not a big-time baseball fan, I want to see dong shots.
Yeah.
That's why I want to see them hit the ball. I want big baseball hitter guy walking in to the batter's box and knocking this thing out of the stadium. That's what I want to see happen. McGuire, Sosa, Bonds, these types of guys. Everybody was captivated by baseball. The reason why is because balls were flying hard, and something that is so difficult to do was taking place right in front of all of us, and it was a spectacle, which it absolutely is.
Yes.
With how small the bat is, with how fast the ball is, the fact that a human can time it up and send it the opposite direction as far as getting home run derbies are and have been electrifying. So the fact that we're going to be there for one, I'm very excited to get, feet on grass.
Yeah.
Feet on grass. Kind of see the balls flying out there. And
sound of the bat that close.
Boom! Crack of the bat.
Yeah.
Oh, the crack of the bat.
Crack, yeah, of course.
Okay, let's move on and talk about some baseball topics that we're going to be paying attention to over the next week and a half or so before the All-Star game and before the Home Run Derby. Go ahead, Tone.
Yeah, Jett, thank you for educating on baseball. Let me educate you on something. 6 wins, no losses, 43 runs, 4 runs given up, 31 scoreless innings. You know what that equals? That's salty ball, my brother, and that's the Pittsburgh Pirates over their last 6 games. the greatest 6-game run any baseball team has ever had. Does this mean
that's not true?
Well, it is. It is. Does this mean that the Buccos may hold on to Mitch Keller? They may actually be buyers at the deadline. They bring up Bubba Chandler. They bring up Connor Griffin. What are the chances the Buccos don't just completely sell off the season after Don Kelly has revitalized everything?
None. I'm sorry to take a leak in your cornflakes here. They've been playing awesome lately. I give a ton of credit to Don Kelly. He has done a fantastic job of taking a clubhouse that looked like it was completely turned off and brought some life back to this season. And nobody's really ever questioned how good the Pirates pitching can be. Like, we've seen it with Skeens. We've seen it with Mitch Keller. Andrew Heaney's been really good this year. So, like, they have the guys to go out and pitch. It's always been just a matter of their offense. And the boys are scoring some runs lately. That's bound to happen. But, Connor Griffin's 19 years old, and he's an A-ball at this point. And as good as I think he's going to be, and Baseball America just rated him the number 2 prospect in all baseball yesterday. So the kid's got a chance to be an absolute star. He's probably another couple of years away. Bubba Chandler, I thought Bubba Chandler was going to be up a lot earlier than he has been. But once he comes up, it might just be as a replacement for Mitch Keller rather than a compliment to Mitch Keller. But listen, if the Pirates can turn Mitch Keller into some bats, into some productive big league hitters, that's how you build a winning team, guys, by addressing your weaknesses. And sometimes it takes strengths and taking away from your strengths to do it. It also should take free agent dollars, but these are the Pittsburgh Pirates, and, well, we know that's...
Well, I think Bob knew what type of wood they had in the clubhouse, if you've seen what they've been doing. And Mr. Cohen over there in New York, he's writing every check he can write. They stink. Yeah. Now let's talk about the other team.
Still better than the Pirates.
Who is it?
They just swept them by the greatest amount that's ever happened in baseball.
Yeah, if the season was 4 games long, and those 4 games happen to be the one that the Pirates had against the Mets, we're hanging pennants.
Yeah.
We're doing the pennants.
Yep.
We're doing the entire thing. Now let's talk about that other team in New York, shall we? Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Jett, shoot me straight here. What the hell is going on with the Yankees? I'm getting very close to giving them a 2-week ban and not watching them anymore. It's so hard. You know exactly what's going to happen damn near every single night they play. How important do you think the series is with the Mets, just for their juju going into the All-Star break? And also, what do they need to do at the deadline to kind of stop this thing from getting out of control, which it pretty much has been for the last month?
Yeah, Ty, I'm sure they're going to miss you if you put a 2-week ban in place. Anyway, all
right. Quit being an asshole.
You know what, Jett? That's the fucking problem. That's the. You're right. They won't.
They won't care about Yankees fans.
They won't.
George Carey.
New York baseball, New York baseball, just generally speaking, sucks right now.
That's awful.
The Yankees are bad, the Mets are bad, and it also, guys, we have to understand that in this environment where there is so much parity in baseball, where there's no clear, obvious, great team, where they're just teams that are, at best very good. It's weird to hear this, but the baseball season is so long that you can have a really bad quarter of the season, and it's probably not going to torpedo your postseason chances. You could have a terrible 40-game stretch. You can go 15-25, or 14-26, or even 12-28 over a 40-game stretch, and still make the playoffs. I mean, let's look at where the Mets were. They were 45-21 at one point. They're now 49-38, and yet they are still in a playoff spot right now. The Yankees have blown their lead in the American League East to the point where the Blue Jays are now tied with them, and the Rays are a half game behind. And they are still far clear, even if the Jays and the Rays pass them, of any of the other teams that are in the playoff hunt right now. So I get the panic. I get why Yankees fans are pissed off. I get why Mets fans are pissed off. I get why they're all looking at it and saying these teams need to get fixed right now or something's going to go really, really wrong. But I also think we need to acknowledge that this is probably the worst that both of these teams are going to play this year.
Maybe.
And they're still both in playoff positions at this point. So what do the Yankees need? They need an infielder who can hit. I don't know if that's a Eugenio Suarez or somebody else, but they need one more bat, and they need relief arms. Luke Weaver's been giving up home runs since he's come back. Devin Williams hasn't been the guy the Yankees thought that they were getting. Fernando Cruz is injured right now. Like, the Yankees need relief pitching. The Mets need just pitching, period. Because when the Mets were in the position, guys, that they were at 45 and 21, it was on the strength of their pitching. And as good as Soto's been recently, and as good as Francisco Lindor has been over the last few years, he slumped recently, but Brandon Nimmo, Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso's been awesome this year. The Mets don't have that like 6 through 9 in their lineup who are going to complement those top 5 guys. And so they need a bat. Maybe it's a center fielder, maybe it's an infielder, whatever it is. The Mets need quite a bit of help right now.
In our world, if you pay the quarterback, it's hard to build up the rest of the team because you've taken up so much money. They paid Juan Soto $750 million. Are they going to be able to fill 6 through 9? Or do you kind of take a hit?
Pat, when Steve Cohen's your owner and it's an uncapped sport, you can do whatever you want. Now, are they going to be financially irresponsible as perhaps they were in past seasons? I mean, I think Steve Cohen's learned a lesson from that. And if you look at the way that he spends, the superstar players, he has no problem like giving large sums of money to. But it's those bottom, middle tier guys who he doesn't want to overpay for. And the Mets farm system, with Carson Bench, with Jett Williams, Jonah Tong, Nolan McLean, Brandon Sproat, like their farm system has gotten a whole lot better. Do they want to dip into that to improve a team that, maybe doesn't warrant that much improvement at the deadline? It's going to be really interesting to see just how aggressive the Yankees and the Mets are at the deadline this year, because the way that both of them have been playing recently does not seem to suggest that either is going to be a true World Series contender. And yet, when you look at the rest of the sport, guys, there aren't many other teams that are suggesting that either.
Jett, I love baseball more because you talk about it. Don't love that you acknowledge that quarters of seasons don't matter in the long run, because the Pirates had a bad first quarter.
Real bad.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Second quarter, they're hottest in baseball. They could go all the way to the top. Dodgers, I think, is why Connor said, you said there's no clear favorite this year, and Connor goes, oh, really?
Every year.
Dodgers are the clear favorite right now. Shohei starting to pitch. Life is good. We will see you down in Atlanta for the All-Star festivities. We appreciate the hell out of you, Jett.
Gentlemen, looking forward to it. Safe travels.
Hey, thanks for breaking the news, doing some journalism.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
I'm going to go do some more right now. See you guys in Atlanta.
You go journalize, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, Jett Passan.
Hey, Jett.